In the darkest nights of despair, when the storms of life threaten to drown us, there is one that can guide us to peace, faith. This is the story of a king who lost everything, a saint who showed him the way, and the divine grace that transformed his life. Inspired by the timeless wisdom of the Tamil saint, this tale will remind you that even in the darkest nights, there is a light within us all. Join us on this journey of struggle, redemption, and the divine grace that transforms lives. A journey that proves, no matter how far you fall, faith will always be your bridge to peace. A stormy night, lightning illuminating a dense forest. A lone traveler, a saint, walks barefoot through the rain, clutching a small idol of Lord Murugan. A grand palace in ancient Tamil Nadu. The King Rajendra sits on a golden throne surrounded by opulence. King Rajendra ruled with power and pride. His kingdom was wealthy, his armies strong, and his people prosperous. But in his heart, there was no room for humility or faith. Rajendra flaunts his wealth, ignoring the pleas of his subjects. A saint stands at the palace gates offering wisdom. The saint tells to Rajendra, "Your Majesty, true wealth lies in kindness and faith. Without them, even a king is nothing." Suddenly the king told to the saint, "Faith, kindness, those are for the weak. I am a king, I need no such things." A sudden invasion devastates the kingdom. The palace is burned, and Rajendra is forced to flee. Rajendra stands in the ruins of his palace, clutching a broken crown. His family is forced to live in a small hut on the outskirts of the kingdom. And in that moment, Rajendra, the once mighty king, fell to his knees. His voice trembled as he cried out, "Everything I built, everything I worked for, it's all gone. What do I do now? What is left for me?" Lost in his despair, Rajendra abandoned his duties. His people suffered, and his family wept. But in the darkest hour, a glimmer of hope appeared. Rajendra wanders the streets at night, haunted by guilt and regret. He encounters Saint Arunagiri, who sits by a small fire under a banyan tree. The saint told to Rajendra, "Your suffering is not the end, Rajendra. It is the beginning of your awakening. Faith is the bridge that will lead you to peace." Rajendra asked to saint, "Faith? What has faith ever done for me?" The humble saint told, "Faith is not about what you receive. It is about what you become." After some days, suddenly Rajendra's son, Prince Arjun, falls gravely ill. The family has no money for medicine or treatment. Queen Mira prays fervently to Lord Murugan, tears streaming down her face, while Rajendra feels utterly powerless. Desperate to save his son, Rajendra decides to climb the sacred hill to the temple of Lord Murugan. With a heavy heart and trembling steps, Rajendra began the climb. The path was steep, the night was dark, but his determination was strong. Rajendra struggles up the rocky path, his body weak, but his spirit resolute. The temple looms in the distance, shrouded in mist and glowing faintly in the moonlight. Rajendra, praying, "Lord Murugan, I have been blind and arrogant. Please forgive me. Save my son, and I will dedicate my life to serving you." As Rajendra prays, a beam of golden light illuminates the idol of Lord Murugan. He feels a sudden warmth and clarity, as if a weight has been lifted from his heart. Rajendra returns home to find Prince Arjun sitting up in bed, smiling and healthy. The family is overcome with joy and gratitude. Queen Mira tearfully told, "Faith has saved us, Rajendra. This is the power of Lord Murugan's grace." Rajendra becomes a changed man. He starts helping the poor and rebuilding his kingdom with humility and faith. Rajendra's heart was transformed. He rebuilt his kingdom, not with gold and power, but with kindness and faith. His people flourished, and his family found peace. Rajendra distributes food to the needy, rebuilds the kingdom with honesty, and spends quality time with his family. The kingdom begins to thrive again. And as Rajendra stood before Saint Arunagiri, his voice filled with gratitude, he said, "Your words were true, Saint Arunagiri. Faith has become my bridge to peace." The saint smiled warmly, his eyes filled with wisdom, and replied, "Faith is not just a bridge, Rajendra. It is the light that guides us home." Rajendra and his family began visiting the temple regularly, offering prayers and gratitude for the divine grace that had transformed their lives. The temple courtyard buzzed with energy, filled with devotees chanting Vel Murugan in unison. During a grand festival, the atmosphere was electric. Devotees danced and sang in celebration, their joy echoing through the air. And there, standing before the crowd, was Rajendra, ready to share his story of struggle, redemption, and the power of faith. "I was lost in the darkness of my pride and greed, but Lord Murugan showed me that faith is the bridge between suffering and peace. No matter how far you fall, no matter how deep the darkness, faith will always guide you home. Faith is not just a belief, it is the light that cuts through the storms of life, the beacon that leads us to the peace within." Like Rajendra, may we all find the courage to cross that bridge of faith. May we rise above our struggles, embrace the divine grace that surrounds us, and discover the peace that lies within our hearts. This is the power of faith, the power to transform, to heal, and to guide us home.